So what did you miss at Jubilee today? Well, you missed a parade. You missed a Palm Sunday parade. We spend time with the Passion on Maundy, Thursday, and Good Friday. So today we had a parade, and it was active. There were people in the aisles. There were cloaks on the ground. There were palms waving everywhere. There were shouts of Hosanna. There was a Roman contingent chanting their support of Rome and the empire. And we danced and sang. And we remembered that moment when Jesus led his little parade that grew and grew into the city. A parade that may not have been intended as political theater, but did somehow poke at the grand military parades of Rome, where the empire was exalted, and a threat to the people that if they messed up, this parade could turn sideways at any moment and trample over them. Those parades were known, and people came out and cheered, a little bit out of the excitement of the spectacle and a little bit out of fear. You want to make sure that the government knows you're on side, because it could be dangerous if they don't think you are. But there was this other parade, without horses and chariots, no soldiers, no banners, no weapons, a donkey, and Jesus, and the people crying out, Hosanna, Hosanna. We worked out that parade today. We lived out that parade today. And we stopped often to wonder, how can we have a parade when there's poverty in the world? How can we have a parade when there's violence? How can we have a parade when the empire is having a parade? How can we have a parade when my friend has died and I'm grieving? How can I be at a parade when I've lost my job or when I'm afraid? And yet, 2,000 years ago, all those things were true for people in that crowd. They were afraid and they were grieving and they were worried. And yet, Jesus invited them to a parade. Jesus himself, who knew what was to come, that's why he came to Jerusalem. He knew the confrontation was coming. If he knew it would lead to the cross, well, perhaps he did know it would lead to the cross. Some would tell you he absolutely did. Others would tell you that he must have known. But one way or the other, he had to know in his heart, or deeply suspect, that within the week, the crowd would not support him any longer. And things would go very, very badly. And yet, even in the midst of that dread, in the midst of that imperfection, in the midst of that betrayal, Jesus still has time for a parade. The invitation is for us to parade too. We can't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. But we can take the time to have a parade. And if you notice that the parades of that time, and even today, were shows of strength and power. Rome was showing you what an empire they are, what they were able to do on their own, overcoming their enemies, bringing peace their way. They did it. Those parades ended about 2,000 years ago. But the parade that Jesus offered, well, we still have that parade 2,000 years later. Because that parade, the people gathered and they cried out, Hosanna, which doesn't mean hooray, and it doesn't mean we win, and it doesn't mean we are the champions. In its root, it means save us. They cried out, save us. They cried out joyously, save us. They cried out desperately, save us. Because in that exclamation is an invitation to God, a desire. It's God, never mind what we can do alone. Show us what we can do together. Be with us. Show us what we can do with you. Save us. Be with us. Don't let us be alone. The Roman parades were parades of those who were alone and doing it all themselves. But Jesus' parade was a parade for those who were open to each other, those who were inviting God in and ready to be amazed by what we can all do together. That's what we celebrated. And then that brought us to the table, where we recognized that the people shouting Hosanna were invited to the table with Jesus, and the people who are cheering for Rome were invited to the table. And we are always invited to that table. God doesn't play favorites. God invites all of us to that table that we might be one together with each other and creation. And so we came to the table and we had a taste of what we can do together with God. Hosanna. So I'm sorry we missed you today. Maybe we'll see you on early this week at 8 o'clock every morning. We have a special faith study from 8 till 8:50 a.m. Thursday at 6 o'clock, we have a Maundy Thursday gathering, a meal, a worship. It's chicken souvlaki, which doesn't sound religious, but trust me, it's worth coming to. 6 o'clock Thursday. Friday, 10:30 in the morning, we'll have our Good Friday service. And then Easter next week, 8 o'clock in the morning out in the labyrinth. 9 o'clock for pancakes, 10:30 for the big service. I hope you'll find time to join us because we miss you and we'd love to see you. God bless.